Hi, good morning. I hope that you're having a great day. And today I want to talk about loneliness. I want to talk about it because it's something that most of us have gone through or will go through. And I know it's something that's been a part of my life for a while. I dealt with loneliness, and there are many different types of loneliness. But with loneliness, it's one of those things that we can't really fix many times. It takes the Lord to fix this. So and what I found with loneliness is part of it is, this need. It's an innate need to be known, to be seen, whether you're in a crowd alone or it doesn't matter. The weight of loneliness is heavy, and the weight of being unseen and unknown can be heavy. So but loneliness too can become a tool of the enemy to remind us of our past relationship failures, and of relationships that we've placed our hope into, or people that we've placed our hope in, and it's called misplaced hope in a lot of cases, because that's where the lie is that we misplace our hope. That we have this idea, and my daughter mentioned this to me, and I thought it was a good point, that many times, we're taught that we have to be with someone, or there's something wrong with us, or it's not normal, whatever the case is. But it's the lie that we need to be, or need to find someone, anyone, who will accept the responsibility of ending the pain of our loneliness. Okay? And that's the thing. No person can end the pain of loneliness for some people. Like myself, I was someone that felt lonely even though I was with someone. So it wasn't something that was based on being alone. And, the idea though is that we want someone to actually see us, to know the deepest parts of who we are. And, the enemy, he comes in and he just digs this pit based on misplaced hope. And we've put our hope in relationships that bring pain and loss. The Bible says hope deferred makes the heart sick. And misplaced hope digs us deeper in the depths of suffering, until we finally begin to acknowledge that living with loneliness sometimes is a permanent condition. And similar to the story of Hagar, and God drawed me to this specifically. It reminded me of the hope that was lost and the loneliness she must have felt in her circumstances. This story goes, Sarah and Abraham, they were married. They're in their 70s or 80s. They didn't have any children. So Sarah decides that she is going to have Hagar and Abraham have children together. It had been about 10 years since the Lord's promise, and there were still no children. They were running out of time. I'm sure she felt that at her age. And so she decided, let's take matters into our own hands, and let Hagar can bear your children. So the hard part, though, is after Hagar became pregnant, Sarah started to deal very harshly with Hagar, and really she was a victim. So Hagar, she decided she was going to run away from the abuse, but instead of choosing to run into the arms of a person to meet her needs, she met the living God. And God found her. He found her where she was at. and he saw her where she was at. So, he goes after the least of these. And she was a slave, so she was truly the least of these. And, he is a God that seeks out the hurt and the lonely to do what he alone can do. And he saw her in the place that she was at, and he knew her. But, he did not either change her situation. Instead, he changed her by his mere presence and his love. So he healed her through his presence and love. And, because of the fact that God saw her, she gave the Lord this name. She said, "You are the God who sees me." For she said, "I have now seen the one who sees me." And that's it right there. That's the point, is that we want to be seen. We want to be known the way God can only see us and know us. And, it meant, though, that God knew her, that he understood her, similar to the way that he sees us, and he knows us, and he understands us. And, the second time when the Lord met Hagar, that was when she was out in the wilderness of Beersheba. It was her and her son Ishmael. They had wandered. They'd been sent out. And so her and her son are out, and they ran out of water. So she left the boy under one of the bushes and sat down opposite him after about a bow shot away. And, in her anguish, she cried out to the Lord. She said, "Don't let me watch my son die." And she raised her voice and wept for her son. And God heard the boy crying. And the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "What is the matter with you, Hagar? Do not fear, for God has heard the voice of the boy exactly where he is. Get up, lift up the boy, and hold him by the hand, for I will make a great nation of him." And we all know, that he became the nation of Saudi Arabia, that little Ishmael did. And so, God opened her eyes after that, though. He opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went out and she filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. So in the wilderness, and her brokenness and her desperation, a mighty omnipresent God saw her. And he met her exactly where she was. And he met her with the purpose of meeting her physical needs and her emotional needs and her son's. And that, that's the story, because the truth is that over and over, the God who sees, he offers provisions, love, compassion, and understanding that we can get from no other person. When you feel rejected by your mother, your father, someone, anyone, or you're alone, this is the God that heals that. And, the problem is, too many times we're just so blinded by our limited human understanding and sight, and misplaced hope in someone or something else to fix the problems. But the truth is that our loneliness and despair make it impossible to see the only one that's holding out his hand and that hears us calling. It is God's desire to see us, to know us, and to meet us in our wilderness, the place of our desperation and our loneliness. He is the only one who can ever genuinely know us. He knows our pain. He knows us completely and understands what we are going through. Our God sees in the dark and lonely places. in our deepest pain. And it reveals to us about God that he sees us as a treasure. And he cares about us and wants to heal our wounds because he sees us and he knows us the way nobody ever could. This is the God who sees where you are and where I am. And he will meet our needs emotionally and physically. So trust in that when you're feeling lonely, when you're feeling hurt, when you're feeling discarded by your family or whoever, know that God sees you. And he truly is the God who sees, and he will meet those needs. So God bless you. And I pray that you'll join me tomorrow. And I pray that this blessed you. Bye.